Dynasty, we have 2 weeks left.
Oh.
The last one, this most recent episode, these last few episodes of Dynasty have felt, part of me is like, it doesn't feel like a final season. I'm kind of like, did you guys know that we need to maybe do some bigger things? But I do kind of like, there's a lot of character work. There's only really one aspect of the most recent episode that I want to talk about, and it was Alexis trying to mend her relationship with her daughters. So she kidnaps them. She steals them in a limo and drives them for 7 hours to Charleston, South Carolina, just so that she can prove to them and they can see for themselves that she tried as a mother and she made a lot of sacrifices for them as a mother, because they hold this grudge that like she wasn't there for them, which is true, and they're valid to have that feeling because that's their truth. But she takes them to this house that she purchased after she and Blake got divorced, and she was like, I made all these rooms for you kids to move into, and they were all personalized to your taste and everything, and we were going to move here and we were going to live together and have a happily ever after. And but that all like came tumbling down. She didn't actually do that because Blake threatened her that she needed to leave the country. So it was, I don't know, her hands were tied, so she didn't get to do anything she wanted to do with her kids, and they felt that she abandoned them. And she was even going to go to England and get Amanda and tell her like, I'm your mother. But once she saw how much her parents loved her, she was like, I need to make this sacrifice for my daughter, because like I'm going to bring her into mess. No, she has a happy life here, so I'm going to let her have her good childhood. And it takes a while for Amanda and Fallon to kind of warm up to this idea, because they're still like, why would you bring us here and show us this? Try to be like, oh, I was a good mother, see? And they're like, but that's not the truth, Ellen. But in the end, they do kind of, they kind of see like Alexis is flawed more than we can even get it into on this podcast. Like she's done bad things, but they realize like, oh, she's the only mom we're gonna have. I mean, not Amanda, obviously, but she did make these sacrifices, and nothing was easy for anybody in this situation. And I forget the song they end up singing, but they have this mother-daughter trio moment, and it was really sweet to see, because that's been a big struggle throughout the whole series, is especially with Fallon kind of finding peace with her parents, and she's had a even rockier relationship with Alexis than she did with Blake. So I think it's important in the run up to the series finale that those kind of big wounds are, at least there's a bandage over them now. They're not completely healed, but just to see that even in this family that is so deeply flawed and so deeply overrun with the strangest trauma ever, that they can kind of bridge gaps and bury some hatchets. And yeah, there's other stuff going on, but it was confusing, and I want to see how it irons out before I even talk about it. That was like the most interesting development. It was a low key episode, but a good character development one.
I'm
That
glad they
sounds
managed
nice.
to pull that off. Because Alexis and Fallon, particularly over the years, you can see that they get on better now, but I feel like maybe they never really fully addressed it, because they just suddenly went from not getting on to getting on, depending on what the episode dictated. So I'm glad now, before the show wraps up, they got a chance to at least talk a bit about the history and the trauma there.
Yeah, I like that it was sort of Alexis being like, these are the plans that I had. But I also like that Fallon and Amanda were like, that's wonderful, but that doesn't change the
Yeah.
years in which we did not have you. Because you have to recognize like that they're grown women now. Like what happened when they came of age? Why weren't you there?
Yeah, that's what Fallon said to her. She was like, you left when I was 14, and it just felt like you evaporated, like, and you were gone. Like, why does this change anything? And Alexis is like, I know that it doesn't, but they they were in a really bad place, these kids, between Blake and Alexis. Like, it was kind of impossible. But but there's been a lot of like clarity, especially for Fallon, like understanding who her parents were when she was a kid and like getting all this through. I really can't wait for you guys to see the court episode from a few weeks ago, because that's an episode where she like understands Blake more. And like with each layer, she's like, oh my gosh, can you guys just like stop? Like enough. That's enough slices. But yeah, I'm hoping this is all ramping up to like an explosive finale that just kind of like blows the lid off of everything. That would be really fun, because these have been a little bit like quieter episodes. So yeah, Fallium baby shower in the penultimate, and then the series finale. It's not hitting me yet, guys. So
I hope it goes out in big bonkers style.
It needs to.
I can't deal with another like weird finale after In the Dark. Give me something.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll be explosive and not in a bad way. I mean, they've from all the reviews you've done so far of this season, there hasn't been a bad sequence yet.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, but let's gonna keep this track record. Let's keep that going, Dynasty writers.